The Indianapolis 500 is sold out, expecting over 350,000 fans to be in attendance. The Coca-Cola 600 will be following that race with over 100,000 fans expected to be there. Kyle Larson racing in both. Here's everything you need to know for the greatest day in racing. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and this is one of the biggest weekends in all of motorsports, the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, and of course the Coca-Cola 600, the Charlotte 600, to end out the night tomorrow on Sunday. It's a great day. It's Christmas for motorsports fans, and we have a lot to discuss, and we can talk about what we expect and what there is to watch going into tomorrow's three races. Once again, we'll sort of break this down. Kyle Larson will be racing in both of these. He's going to be one of the few drivers to attempt to do both the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 in the same day. Only one driver has completed all 1,100 miles, so all 600 laps of racing on this day, and that was Tony Stewart when he made his attempt, finished in the top 10 both. I think it was 6th in Indy and 3rd in the Coke 600. So let's go ahead and break it all down. Let's start out with Monaco. The Monaco Grand Prix is tomorrow, so that will start the day. The last time, actually, that they will run the Monaco Grand Prix on Memorial Day weekend. I know that's not really celebrated in Monaco, but sometimes in the United States, it's become kind of a tradition to watch all three for the last 20 plus years. But that race will not run on Memorial Day weekend in the United States next year. So this is the last time we'll see Monaco. Once again, Lando Norris actually breaks the qualifying record for this racetrack, so he will start first, which is going to be, once again, a massive advantage on those F1 cars and the size of those F1 cars on that very narrow racetrack in Monaco. So certainly a very high chance that Lando Norris could come away with the win. But starting second place, once again, is going to be the guy that won last year, Charles Leclerc, who broke the Monaco curse last year. He will be starting in the second position. We have to see what he can do. We'll see how that race plays out in Monaco tomorrow morning. That will be the first race starting at about 9 o'clock. Following that, at lunchtime, at around 12 o'clock, will be the Indianapolis 500. Once again, huge deal in the United States. One of the biggest races, maybe the biggest race in the world right now. We're hearing reports of over 350,000 fans are expected to be in attendance, one of the largest crowds in recent memory at the Indy 500. This is going to be a massive event, a huge event, and there's a lot of big storylines leading into this race as well, right? Robert Schwartzman is on pole. Once again, this is a rookie team and a rookie driver that's going to be starting on pole for the Indianapolis 500, the greatest spectacle in racing. That should be exciting in and of itself, but also some other really interesting storylines leading into this race. Pato O'Ward, who's finished second, runner-up after losing the lead on, I know the last two laps. I think he's lost the lead on the final lap 2 years in a row, 2023 and 2024, to the same guy, Joseph Newgarden. Pato O'Ward has a chance to redeem himself starting up front. Is going to have a good chance to race for the win. Pato O'Ward, 2 heartbreaks in a row at the end of the Indianapolis 500 the last couple of seasons. He's got a chance for redemption to win it this year in Indy. And of course, we have to talk about, once again, I did a video on this a few days ago, the Indianapolis penalties, right? You have Joseph Newgarden, the guy that's won it 2 years in a row, trying to go for 3, starting in the back, right? So 32nd because of the penalty. Will Power, his teammate, will be starting right behind him, who's also won the Indianapolis 500 a few years prior. Both of them will start in the back, but both of them were really fast. Once again, they were really fast on pit road yesterday in the pit crew challenge. Newgarden won that. Newgarden was also fastest on the final practice session on Friday. Newgarden is still going to be someone to watch. It's a little more difficult to pass in Indianapolis right now with the pack. It's more like a pack racing type event right now. Obviously not as close as like a NASCAR pack racing event, but certainly the cars are tighter. It's a little more difficult to pass. Dirty air is prevalent, but it'll be interesting to see if we can get Newgarden from the back, 33rd, in Will Power. We'll have to watch them too come up through the field. It's certainly going to be fun to see if that can be a possibility. Once again, you have Kyle Larson now moved up to 19th on the starting grid. So we have to talk about our NASCAR guys, right? Kyle Larson running his second attempt at the Indy 500, made a mistake last year at the end, taking him out of contention to get the win, or really, a top 5 finish, which it looked like he did. But he did gain a lot of speed on the final practice, said he felt more comfortable in that final practice session. So Kyle Larson, I think, could gain some time and positions during this Indy 500 on Sunday. Going to be fun to watch. The driver, the 17, Kyle Larson, going to have to keep an eye out on that blue race car. Now, after the Indy 500, the checkered flag flies. He will be moving, and once again, weather looks way better this year for both events. There is a chance of some rain at the race at Charlotte. So Kyle Larson, after he finishes Indy 500, will fly to Charlotte. The race is scheduled to start at 6:27 is the scheduled green flag, is a slight chance of rain possible later on in the night as we look at the forecast right now. Kyle Larson will start on the front row and the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. So he will start next to Chase Briscoe, who won the pole today. Once again, a couple of big races Chase Briscoe's won the pole for. Won the pole for the Daytona 500 and finished top 10, I believe, earlier this year in February. NASCAR's biggest event on the calendar, but also a huge event for NASCAR is that Coca-Cola 600 for a couple of reasons. Once again, it's just a prestigious 600-mile race. All the greats have won this longest race of the season. The only 600-miler on the schedule, Kyle Larson's won it before in 2021. Kyle Larson is going to attempt to go out and win it again after completing the 500. Very realistically could. Starting right on the front row in second, his teammate William Byron third, Chris Buescher fourth. AJ Allmendinger and John Hunter Nemechek, I don't want to say they're underdogs, but certainly I wouldn't expect them to, race for the win, but they're both starting up front at this racetrack. Gibbs, Gragson, Bowman always consistent. Last year's winner of the 600 and a rain-shortened Coca-Cola 600 last year, Christopher Bell, was also one of the fastest cars, though, is going to be starting in the 10th position. So a big deal there for everybody involved. And once again, a reason that this race is huge, this Coca-Cola 600 is big for these teams, is because it does award more points than any other race on the schedule. That and the Daytona 500 award the most points of the year, because Daytona awards points for the dual races as a stage. And of course, the Coke 600 has an extra stage in it. Every 100 laps of the 600 miles is going to be one stage. So that awards 1 point for the winner of the stage, 1 playoff point, and then of course 10 points to the winner, and so on back. Like a typical stage, there's just an extra one. So that adds a little more added pressure to these teams to run well throughout the entire night, daytime into night. It's the longest race of the year. It's going to take a while, but it usually has some interesting storylines, and it's been good the last few seasons. There was some good racing last year until the rain, kind of came in and swept everything away. Other news today, after those Sixers, I hope everybody enjoys the greatest day in racing tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. It should be exciting. Weather looks better. It looks like it's going to be a great day of racing on Memorial Day weekend tomorrow on Sunday. But we do have a few other things I want to talk about. Some contracts have been signed for some big-name drivers. William Byron signed a contract a couple of days ago with Hendrick Motorsports through 2029, guaranteeing his spots at 4 more years. Certainly no surprise there. William Byron continuing to win races, has made the Final Four 2 years in a row. No surprise that William Byron and Rudy Fugle will probably be together for multiple years to come through at least 2029. A few other interesting things. I noticed this was actually posted right here. This picture was posted by NASCAR and NBC. And these are a few things that I was not aware of till they posted this. Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman are signed through 2026, so that would be next year. And then, of course, Chase Elliott signed through 2027. So just sort of interesting to kind of get a timeline for all that. I'm sure there's no issues with Kyle Larson getting a re-sign. I think Alex Bowman's kind of the more questionable one because he has the least amount of wins over the last few years, or at least in the next-gen era of all the Hendrick Motorsports drivers. He seems to be the 4th guy at Hendrick, at least over, if you look at, the whole thing as a scheme, right? Obviously Byron's in the championship 4, Larson's won championship, Elliott's won championship. Bowman is still good, consistent every week, should make the playoffs every year, no problem, can win races at times. I haven't seen him really get into that championship winning speed, at least after 2021, but I don't see a situation where I think Alex Bowman would need to be not signed, or I'm sure he will. And I think Ally has a contract that goes farther than 2026 too, and Ally seems to really be a great partner for Alex Bowman. Another contract being signed, Kyle Busch at Richard Childress Racing. So Kyle Busch, RCR, have signed a contract through 2026, so a 1-year extension. Be interesting to see how long that goes. It was interesting to me that it was only 1 year, so how long is Kyle Busch going to stick around? Would he go to another team? Would he end his career and move down to trucks like he's talked about? It's still very early to start speculating, but he did sign a 1-year contract today. And by the way, while talking about that Coca-Cola 600, one thing I forgot to mention, it would be Jimmy Johnson's 700th career start in this year's 2025 Coca-Cola 600. So Jimmy Johnson's 700 career starts. His first start was at Charlotte back in, I don't even know, what was that, 2002, 2003? So it's been a while for Jimmy Johnson. It's exciting. Should be a great day of racing tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoys it. And of course, about Kyle Busch signing a contract, being secure for 1 more season, let's get rowdy.